Right then folks, Greeno here. Where am I today? Well, I am right in Birmingham city centre. Behind me here is a place called Plates by Purnell's. Now this is a tapas style restaurant run by Glynn Purnell. Now he is a very, very famous name on the Birmingham food scene. He's a regular on our TVs. You'll see him on things like the Great British Menu and some of those Saturday morning kind of shows. Really, really great chef. Now he worked under some of the best chefs in the business as a youngster. Took on his own restaurant in this neck of the woods back, well, in his mid-20s, I would say. And by the time he was 27, 28, already had a Michelin star to his name. So this guy knows what he's doing. Now, like a lot of top chefs, he's not had it that easy recently. And his flagship restaurant, Purnell's, actually closed not that long ago. But he does still have two going, and one of them is this place behind me, Plates. Now, let's say it's a tapas style thing, Spanish food, small plates. Sounds right up my strasse. So let's go and get inside and find out what it's all about. Doesn't look too expensive either for a guy with his reputation. Well, this has been a bit of excitement. Just as I was about to go into the restaurant, fire alarm's gone off in the nearby buildings. So everyone's been milling around outside. We're a little bit late now, but it's all good. Yeah, hopefully we'll be let in soon. Right then guys, I've come in and I've been seated, and I've got to say, I like the look of this restaurant. Lots of interesting artwork around, a lot of it sort of cow themed. We've got a cow's head just above me here, and pictures of cows around. Dark walls, which kind of make the artwork pop out. Light music around, a little bit of foliage around. Very, very nice, relaxing. The menu is here. This is tapas, so it's all small plates. There's a bunch of snacks there, there's vegetable dishes, meat, and some fish and seafood dishes. So we'll try a selection of different things. And then underneath there, there's a list of wines, a lot of which are sold by the glass. And we have cocktails, and then there's beers and a bunch of soft drinks and whatever as well. So lots of different things for people to choose from. Yeah, gotta say, I like the feel of this restaurant. The tables, nice and rustic wooden tables. The staff, obviously they were a little bit disturbed by the fire alarm, so they're still getting a few things set up, but I've poked myself in a corner, and look at this. Even the crockery is on brand. Green plates for Greeno. Okay, so I'd like to have the padron peppers, if I may. Yeah. No problem. Now the debate I'm having at the moment is whether to go with the carrot or the cabbage off the vegetable menu. What do you reckon is best?
My personal favourite is the history cabbage.
Okay.
They're both very, very good.
If your favourite is cabbage, I'll do that because I can't decide between the two of them.
No problem. They are both very good.
I'd like the pork belly as well, and the gambas pilpil.
Yeah.
I think that should keep me going for a bit, shouldn't it?
Yeah, perfect. So padron peppers,
yep.
the history cabbage,
yep.
pork belly, and the gambas.
Super job.
Perfect.
Nice one. Thank you very much. As you heard there, order is in. I've gone for the pimientos de padron. Apologies for my Spanish pronunciation. That is scorched padron peppers, extra virgin olive oil and salt. Nice and simple, very classic. Couldn't decide whether to go with a carrot dish, which is andouille glazed carrot with rocket yogurt and lemon vinaigrette, or a cabbage dish. Repollo con harissa y queso. Hispy carriage. Carriage? I hope it's not a carriage. Hispy cabbage with harissa, mayo and cheese. I like the idea of this place with they're using the sort of humble ingredients, carrots, cabbage and whatever, to make what I'm hoping is going to be elevated dishes. From the meat section, I went with the barriga de cerdo, sticky slow-cooked pork belly with creme fraiche, celeriac, yum, and paprika. And then from the fish and seafood, another classic, gambas pilpil, king prawns with garlic, chilli, paprika, and butter. All sounds very nice to me. And none of it expensive. There's not a dish on here that costs more than £10. Now, of course, they are only small plates, but I still think that's going to be pretty good value. As I was reading through that menu, and it kind of makes you think of Spain and warm and sunny days. It's not one of those today in Birmingham, but why not treat yourself Nice white rioja here. Just imagine sitting there in the sunshine, overlooking a beautiful marina, somewhere down on the coast of Spain, watching the world go by, the sun reflecting off the sea. I mean, I can see the back of an office building currently, but if I close my eyes, I can imagine it, can't I? Right, folks, the first couple of dishes have been brought to my table. So first up, we have the padron peppers, and a really nice portion of them as well. There's quite a lot in this little dish, kind of stacked quite high. Very good for you, I'm sure, aren't they? Nice and healthy peppers there. And we have the prawns, the gambas pil pil. And a nice kind of rich sauce there. Paprika, garlic, should be nice and punchy. And I've got some bread here, which I can use to dip in there and mop that up. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the peppers, dusted with paprika by the looks of it, olive oil on there, extra virgin of course, and some sea salt. So you can see how nicely cooked up they are, all blistered in the skins. Really nice and fresh tasting. Get some of this stuff off the top of the top peppers, the decoration. Get that down in amongst all the ones that are down the bottom too. Make sure everything gets a nice little coating. Really nice and hot inside. Of course, when you're cooking this method, you create a steam inside the pepper, don't you, which cooks it through. Obviously that retains the heat really well. God, these are tasty. The sea salt on there is really nice. Paprika brings a smokiness along with the charring on the skin. Yeah, happy boy with them. We've got the gambas here. Now these, I think, are £9. We've got 5 king prawns in there by the looks of it, some chopped up chilli, and then obviously all that sauce. So, going with our cutlery here, let's have a little look at these prawns. So let's bring it a little bit closer to the camera so you can see the prawn there. Glistening with all of that sauce on it. So this should be rich with garlic, with paprika, a little bit of chilli in there. Come to papa. Not as punchy as I was expecting it to be. I expected a little more pronounced flavours in that sauce. The prawn itself is nice enough. Again, it might have been nice if it had been shown some of that smoke that the peppers have been, just to add a little layer of flavour in there. Let's see how much of this we can get up. We'll get a little bit of chilli on there as well. Even that chilli's very, very mild. Yeah. This isn't as good as the peppers. I've got a good piece of chilli there, and I'm not getting a whack of heat from it at all. Bit of a shame. The prawns, like I say, nice enough, but just lacking a little in additional flavour to them. Get the bread into this sauce. Let's see if the sauce, as it soaks into that bread, adds anything. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. The bread itself is toasted, drizzled with olive oil, and is very, very tasty. But what I'm not getting is any real flavour out of that sauce. It's just a little dull. No sign of the other dishes yet, so I'll keep going with these peppers. Got me wine here as well. They're really good. Next 2 dishes have arrived. Now, just one little note about the service here. Now, I know they were disrupted, obviously, by the fire alarm that went off before. And it's been pleasant enough, but it's all been a little bit slow. So, I mean, I'm about an hour after I was supposed to have sat down, and I only came in about 10 minutes after that, I suppose. So I've been here over 3/4 of an hour. And yes, it took a little while to get the ordering done or whatever. Partly my fault because I was mooching around filming, partly their fault because they weren't set up in time. It's just taking a little bit long. Also, when the server came and cleared away the other 2 plates, leaving these behind. Didn't ask if I'd enjoyed it or whatever, just asked if it was done. Little touches like that you expect, you know, in a place that's run by a Michelin star chef, just to be a touch better. Anyway, let's move on to these 2 dishes. And I say dishes because they are actually in dishes. We have the pork here. This is with creme fraiche, celeriac, and paprika, I think. And this, which I'm sure everyone is going to say is in a dog bowl, is the cabbage. Now, have you ever seen cabbage that looks like that? I certainly haven't. So it's covered in harissa mayo and cheese. It looks really interesting. It does look interesting. In fact, so interesting, I'm going to start with it. So, let's cut this right down the middle and see how it's cooked. Not the easiest thing in the world to cut, it has to be said. Not sure how it works necessarily as a sharing dish. Obviously, most of these tapas things are kind of intended that way. But it's a very kind of messy, gooey thing to cut into pieces. I mean, I can't even really show you a cross-section of it because it all just kind of soaks down into it. It looks pretty on the plate, not quite so much when you start to cut into it. Anyway, it's about the flavour really, isn't it? Now that's interesting. That has got all the punch that I think the prawns are missing. The cabbage itself is basically just a vehicle for the other flavours. It gives a texture, it has a little bit of crunch, it's not overcooked. With that harissa, and the harissa mayo, and the little bits of fresh chilli on here, which presumably are from a different chilli to the one they put in the prawns, because this one actually has some zing. That is actually nice. The flavour profile of this is much, much better than with the prawns. 100%. So that's a success. The cabbage is a good dish. And again, I'm not sure that was that expensive, was it? Let me just check on here. £6. I'd pay £6 for that any day of the week. So we're on to the pork belly now. Now, you'll all remember the disaster of the pork belly I had at the Celtic Manor, I'm sure. Fingers crossed this is going to be better than that. It does appear to have a crisp on the top. We have creme fraiche and celeriac underneath, in kind of what I would describe as a remoulade. Look at this spiral cut. Can you see that? That's interesting. So let's try that.
Thank you. Long time no see. How are you? Good. Congratulations.
That's delicious. A big whack of lemon in that creme fraiche really makes it pop. And as you sort of chew in, obviously the creme fraiche dressing kind of mellows away into the background, and you start to pick up the earthiness of that celeriac. That's a nice flavour. How will it marry with the pork though? And how will the pork be? So the pork nice and kind of crispy on the outside. And soft as soft can be inside too. And with a lot of flavour. I think the chefs at the Celtic Manor should come here for lunch. Not to try the prawns, but to give this pork dish a try. This pork belly is cooked so much better than theirs was. I'm not entirely convinced though of the combination between that and the creme fraiche and the celeriac. Because that dressing has such a big whack of lemon right at the start, that becomes a dominant flavour straight away and kind of overtakes things for a bit. And so you're missing out on that sort of unctuous fatty flavour from the pork. It's a nice dish. The individual components, I think, are well prepared. Yeah, just not sure about it as a combination, really. With that pork, the lemon is just too predominant. A little bit of a shame. But the pork is great quality. Right, folks, so Plates by Purnell's. What did I think of that? You know, overall, reasonably impressed. Did everything hit the mark? No, it didn't. It wasn't bad. It was not bad. Let me take you through the bill here, and we'll go through the items as well. So we started off with the glass of wine, £11.50. The Rioja Blanco, very, very tasty wine. No issues with that at all. Padron peppers, £5.50. They were delightful, really, really tasty, really nicely grilled, nice blistering on the skin, plenty of sea salt on there, a little bit of other seasoning. Enjoyed them thoroughly. The gambas, the prawns, yeah, they were a bit of a letdown, if I'm honest. Not a lot of flavour in that sauce, dressing, whatever you want to call it. Just a bit bland. I was chatting with one of the servers there, and he said it's something that they've struggled to find a balance with. I suppose partly because it's down to personal taste a little bit. Some people say it's not punchy enough when they put it too punchy. People say it's too punchy. So yeah, so maybe it is a difficult one to get right, but yeah, for me, I think it just needed a bit more oomph all round. Grill the prawns a bit maybe. Put a bit more paprika, a bit more garlic into that sauce. The other thing, and actually I didn't realise this at the time, the bread that came with it wasn't free. I was asked if I wanted some bread to dip into the sauce. I said yes. Got those 3 little pieces of grilled, not toast as such, but getting that way. £2 they cost me. I think that's a bit of a cheek. Charging £2 for 3 little thin slices of bread. There we are. On to the other two dishes that I got. The cabbage was £6. Star of the show by some margin, I would say. Really, really good, bold flavours. The cabbage, nicely cooked. There's a vehicle for all those other flavours on there with the harissa mayonnaise, more harissa on there, and the cheese on the top. That was a great dish. Really, really good. Definitely my favourite. And only £6. I think that's really good. The pork belly dish. Pork beautifully cooked. Really nice. Crispy on the outside. Nice and gooey and soft and juicy inside. I just think the lemon flavour in that creme fraiche dressing overtook everything. And yeah, that was just one dominant flavour in there. Just needs a bit more tweaking to balance that out. That dish was £9. So overall, the subtotal, £43.50. Service charge is 10%, £4.35. I didn't mind paying that for the service. Like I say, there was a bit chaotic at times in there in terms of the fact they weren't ready, but that was partly due to a fire alarm going off in the building around them, so I suppose you can't hold that against them too much. And also partly, I tucked myself away around the back in a little corner, as I do when I'm filming, so I don't think, I wasn't in a position where people were passing very often. Right, I've got to come up with a score then. And I am going to be reasonably critical, because this is a chef who has Michelin stars owning this building. He currently only owns 2 restaurants, as I understand it, because he lost one not so long ago. So he's definitely got time to pop in and make sure standards are high. And there were things that just weren't as I think they should have been, personally. So I'm going to go with 3.8, I think. Maybe 3.9. 3.9 out of 5. Yeah, I think that's fair. Some things I loved. I could eat that cabbage dish every single day, no problem at all. But the prawns were a disappointment. The balance of that pork dish was off. And so that's why I've had to score things down a little bit. But do you know what? It does still get Greeno's green light. It's on a borderline with getting the amber light, but I think it does get green light because the couple of things that I really liked were really good. And I think if you go in there and choose things that you know you're going to like, you'll eat well. You will eat well. So if you're in Birmingham, I think this is a place it's worth checking out. For a restaurant with that chef's name on the door, it's not expensive, but just be careful what you pick. Right then folks, so if you've enjoyed this video looking at Plates by Purnell's, a Spanish tapas place owned by Glynn Purnell, right here, smack bang in the middle of Birmingham, quite a long way from Spain, quite a long way from the sea. Anyway, don't forget to click a thumbs up on there for me, it does help with the channel. And if you're new around here and you've enjoyed this video, why not take a little look? In fact, I've got a playlist of kind of celebrity chef restaurants, so take a look in there. And if you enjoy any of the videos, why not click that subscribe button, ding your little bell for notifications, and that way you won't miss anything that comes up on the channel. Right, that's it from me for today. Where will I end up next? Who knows? You have to wait and see. But I will see you next time.